Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club, where we talk about movies. So let's talk about some movies.
And today we are talking about our last film in our retrospect that we've been doing for this month for the Scream franchise with Scream 5 or just plain Scream.
Yeah, we're finally finishing off the month with the new Scream movie. Came out in theaters, I don't know, a week ago as of recording, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
like that.
Last week.
Yeah, and we got to see it opening night. Really cool. It was weird showing up to a theater where there was like people. That was kind of interesting. That
was a little different.
It was almost full.
It was almost full. It wasn't restricted, but they did have almost all the seats sell out. Our theater that we normally go to was completely sold out, so we had to go to one of our backup theaters, and we still had a really good time.
Well, I just pointed out because I'm almost a little surprised. Because, well, the Scream franchise was pretty much dead for like 10 years, and then we had Scream 4 kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then that pretty much ended the franchise.
Yeah.
And then this one comes out again 10 years later. I was just surprised there were so many people here. Was it like a nostalgia trip?
Oh, yeah.
What?
I memean, the Scream franchise, or not the franchise, the Scream fandom is huge. I had a great time. The movie was a lot of fun.
I guess this is going to be the spoiler-free section we'll start with.
Because after that, it is spoilers out the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be insane how much stuff we drop, so spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie yet.
But we'll give you our broad strokes, 5-minute, how we feel about the movie to start us off.
Yeah.
So, your broad strokes, how you felt about the movie.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I loved the plot twists, the storyline. I thought it really worked. I've seen some things online where a lot of people were very upset or very negative towards the movie. I'm in the camp of it was a great movie, it was a fun movie. And that's what a lot of the Scream movies are. They're fun. They're murder mysteries with some comedy kind of weaved into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I realized this as the movies went on, where it being a whodunit mystery is kind of bullshit, because it's like, you can't really figure out who it is with any real logic other than, oh, I got a gut feeling it's this guy.
Yeah.
But that's not like, oh, I solved the mystery. That's, fuck it, I've seen enough of these movies, I can just guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of a fun game that I play in my head whenever these new movies come out. Okay.
You look at the poster and you're like, alright, which one of you motherfuckers looks like the serial killer?
The poster, the trailer, I go off my gut feelings, and this time, yeah, I was able to pick up one of the killers from the trailer.
You also got spoiled.
Yeah, I think the day before we went to go see this, some asshole went on Facebook and spoiled who got killed, who the killers were, and I was furious. Dean tried to bring me down by telling me it's a 50-50 chance, and
yeah,
it was. It could have, completely gone a different way, but this person ended up actually telling the truth and spoiling the movie after I had tried not to watch any trailers apart from the main trailer, so I was royally pissed.
Yeah, I'm a social media non-entity.
Yeah.
So, I never get spoiled for movies unless I'm talking to somebody and they say it. Going into this movie, completely blind. I don't even think I saw the trailer for it.
You did, when we went to go see Halloween Kills.
That's right. It was, that was it. So that was the teaser, right?
Yeah.
So that was so long ago.
Yeah.
But going into this, didn't see any of it, but you can pick out the killers pretty quick. One of them was right away. I figured out in the first 20 minutes. The other one, as they were going into the third act, I'm like, alright, now I'm 90-80% sure it's you, but it's 10% margin of error. But yeah, honestly, the movie for me, definitely fun. This is definitely a movie for the fandom.
Yeah.
I have complicated feelings about the movie's theme at the end of it. Yeah. I still think the ending motivation thing is kinda bullshit. But I've said that about literally every Scream movie since the first one. But yeah, I would say this is a lot of fun. I dug it. I probably wouldn't say this is drop everything you're doing and go see it. But honestly, if you see it on Netflix or something like that, definitely give it a watch. If you're a fan of this series, absolutely go out and see it in the theater.
How about if you're a fan of this movie and you've never seen one of the Scream movies on the big screen?
Yeah, I would...
Considering that was how we went into it for you, how was it seeing it on the big screen versus seeing it on TV?
Great, because of, like, those guys in the back that were, like...
Oh, that were cheering?
I don't know who that guy was, but he was hyped as a motherfucker.
He was the MVP of our theater screening.
Every kill, he's like, oh, shit. You know, at the end, he's like, fuck yeah, get him, man. Oh, it was... That guy popped off every 10 minutes.
And even in the climax, a lot of us started clapping.
He started the slow clap. He clapped at the right time. That guy was dictating the mood of the theater. So I really dug it. I really dug it in that sense, because I like it when an audience is...
reacts to what they're
when
seeing.
an audience is lively. Like, I went to go see Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Oh, it was great, because everybody in that theater was game.
Yeah.
But this, super good. I'm a little surprised this got pushed from its original release. Because usually they do that and it's like, oh, it's because it's like, yo, we're going to push it to January because that's where we dump the bad movies. But I'm like, this isn't like, oh, a good January movie. This is like just a pretty good movie.
For me, I think it's a great movie. I can see why they didn't keep it in December, because having that go head-to-head with Spider-Man...
Well, if this went head-to-head with Spider-Man, it would have bombed. It would have been pulled after 2 weeks, because Spider-Man is still running rampant over the box office. Granted, this movie's debut actually broke Spider-Man's stranglehold. Yeah,
it broke the hold, and, I mean, it kind of broke our traditions of January, because January is usually a very slow movie month.
Usually it's where they dump the shitty movies.
And this one just kind of blew up the box office, and it's just like, you know... Go Scream, go horror movies, you know, for people that are like, oh no, horror movies, you know, they don't have any substance. It's like, no.
I feel as a culture we have moved past that point, alright?
But still, there's a few. Just a few out there.
We're just trying to weed them out one podcast at a time.
Exactly.
But, yeah, overall, I think the movie has, like, problems, but most of the problems with it are like, okay, the movie's a little fat. It's a little big.
There's stuff that could be trimmed from it.
That's one thing I could tell we don't have Wes Craven for this, because you can say a lot about Wes Craven as a director, but there's no fat in his movies.
No.
They just go.
It's very clean.
Very clean, very quick. Everything on screen is for a reason, and it's like he's not putting, like, long, fatty dialogue sequences that don't really go anywhere. There's some of that shit in this movie. And also, I think this movie... winks and nods at the camera a little too much. They're a little bit...
I thought it was funny.
It wasn't like Scream 4's level of pure self-parody, but it was like real close. We get it, you're in a Scream movie, but can you calm the fuck down and go back to like telling a story?
No, I think everyone was just so excited. We're back in it. I mean, there is just so much that happens in this movie, and you remember when we went to go see 2001: A Space Odyssey, and you were so excited?
Oh, yeah.
And you wanted to sit through the second screening?
Yes!
If our theater had a second screening after ours, I would have wanted to sit through it a second time and watch it, because that's how much of a good time that I had.
Yeah, I mean, again, this movie, it's, like, tailor-made for die-hard fans.
Yeah.
You know, commendable. I think you are a... Okay, so you're a Scream stan, right? Am I using the lingo right from the young kids?
I'm a hardcore fan. I don't think I'd call myself a stan.
If you forgive Scream 3, then you're a stan?
I will watch it when I'm marathoning, but I don't set out... You know what? I haven't watched Scream 3 in a long time. I'm just going to go and sit down and watch that again.
I would be a little concerned if that was how you killed a Friday night.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think as a diehard fan, this movie is really good. I'm 50-50 on the Scream movies at this point.
Yeah, I know. You're not really too involved in the fandom. You're just kind of like, oh, it's on. I haven't seen it in a while.
I liked the first one.
Yeah.
The second one's fun. The third one's pretty bad. And the fourth one's mediocre to good in parts. But this one, I'm like, no, this is about on par with, like, Scream 2. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's better than 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say give this a watch. I would recommend it. But that's our spoiler-free. We're about to get into the spoiler section.
Oh boy, so if you haven't seen Scream 5 yet, pause this, go watch it, and come rushing back to listen to this, because, man, it is about to get all spoiler-friendly up in here.
So yeah, let's get into that section.
Oh man, I think we should start from the beginning.
Yeah, because there's a few things in the beginning that are really cool. And then there's some setups where with one of the characters that I think is raging bullshit.
And we have something that has not happened in the past 4 movies happen in this movie. There's no opening kill in this movie.
Which is a bait and switch.
I was so surprised. I really thought we were going to get it, because that's how every Scream movie starts. They set it up that it's the same way that Casey Becker dies in Scream, the original movie.
Yeah.
And no, she survives.
Yeah, okay, because the opening sequence of the movie is well done.
Yes.
I did like it. I think it's better than 3, better than 2. I think 4 might be my favorite just because of how weird and meta it is.
And because it's a movie within another movie within another movie.
It's a taco within a taco.
But this one was very Lynchian for you.
Oh my God, can David Lynch please make Scream
Considering
sick?
that at the time of this recording, it is David Lynch's birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Lynch.
And
the owls are not as they seem.
And it is also Skeet Ulrich's birthday today.
Yes. Oh, we're going to get to that for the Hottie playlist once we reveal who they are in the story. But who are the people in this movie?
Yeah, so in our opening non-kill scene, we have Tara, who is home alone, and the killer is calling her, and, let's play a game, and we've got all the trivia questions, and it's, if you don't answer these right, I'm going to kill your best friend Amber, who Tara thinks is basically messing with her because they're texting each other, and Amber starts to send threatening messages to her, and the killer reveals that he has copied her phone. I've seen this before where
you clone the cell phone.
Yeah.
Is this something you can do with like a phone program or whatever? You can do it. It's what? Okay, so Tara. Sorry. Tara's basically the main character, the character we want to follow.
Yeah.
And her sister Sam is the character we actually follow.
Yeah. The story's more about Sam than it is Tara, but I mean, Tara just kicks some ass in this movie. Yeah,
well, Tara's the one that actually is... I do not want to besmirch Melissa Barrera, but Jenna Ortega, who plays... Jenna Ortega plays Tara.
Yeah.
Steals the show whenever they're in a scene together. And I don't know if, the actress playing Sam didn't commit all the way or was in the middle of something. It just felt like they walked through a few of their scenes. So I never just connected to her as a character.
Yeah, I thought she did a good job. I felt like she played the way that her character was supposed to be, where she's very conflicted on who she is as a person and this secret that she's been holding on for years.
Yeah, but she feels so just, blank.
I didn't feel that way about her. I liked her. I enjoyed her performance. I mean, I love the storyline that they created for her. Mm-hmm. Technical-wise, there are some problems, and...
Do you want to get to that? Because the whole movie basically revolves around Sam and Tara. We don't get the original trilogy of characters, Sam, or,
Sydney, Dewey, and Gayle.
Until, 30 minutes, 45 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of our way of bringing in, the new crowd in the movie. It really did kind of feel like a sister movie where we've got the older sister and the younger sister trying to survive. And Sam, being the older sister, has been away for a while, and Tara felt like, you kind of abandoned me, and our dad left us, and Mom's never quite been the same since everything happened. And it gets revealed that, Sam and Tara's mom had a baby in high school, and Sam was that baby, and Billy Loomis was the father.
Which... Fuck that shit.
I loved it. I love that spin.
It has but they do the weird, supernatural, crazy hallucination bullshit. Where Sam sees Billy, and Billy is like, hey, I know I was a crazy serial killer that killed a bunch of people and was a mastermind and a psychopath, but I'm going to become the nice guy by the end of this movie. Fuck that shit. Also, don't make sense.
Well, I was going to get there, but... I thought it was weird that they kind of goofed. They made Tara 18, or no, sorry. I'm going to keep mixing them up. They made Sam 18 or 19, somewhere in there, and Tara's still in high school, and it's like, she left as soon as she turned 18. And it's like, well, if she was really Billy's daughter, she'd be 25. She wouldn't be,
23 because she says she leaves at 18 and she hasn't been back in like 5 years.
Okay, so
that would put her at 23, not 25.
And it's like the 25th anniversary of the original murders, so it's like
I'm like,
you've got some
same, just do basic math.
That's why it's like you got some math problems there, but I like the twist. It's something that's been talked about for years. People are like, there's going to be a twist where Billy, has a child with somebody else and this child's going to come out of the woodwork.
You wanted it to be Stu escaped and he's been orchestrating these behind bars. You wanted that since Scream 2.
Well, that was the scenario that was going to happen for Scream 3 and they scrapped that. So it was going to be, okay, how are we going to connect to the original killers? Is it going to be Stu or is it going to be Billy? And we kind of get both because we have Stu's nephew in this movie. A sister.
We have Stu's nephew?
Vince Schneider in the movie, that's Stu's nephew.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How? Wait, is that stated in the movie?
They say it in the movie. So I don't know how. I don't remember them saying that he has a sister in the original movie.
He don't.
So I don't know. I just don't know. But that's why they were kind of keeping it quiet about when he dies because, Tara's been attacked. That was going to be our lead kill. And then we have him killed, so they're going in line of, the original killings.
All right, I'm just going to cut to the chase on this. Now do they know that? No, now this movie is bad. No, not bad. But I'm like, because the movie is going out of its way to fillet the first Scream movie. Where it's like, we are trying to be the first movie. It's doing the same thing they tried to do in Scream 4, but, like, successfully.
Yeah.
Because this one is talking about, like, the reboot, sequel trend that happened with, like, The Force Awakens and Halloween 2018. Where, they're basically the first movie, but they're still in canon with the originals. They're, like, sequels, but they're also remakes at the same time. And that's what this movie is trying to do with Sam and Tara taking over our Sydney roles. But the theme that the movie comes to at the end when the killer's motives are revealed makes this movie very complicated for me to understand the intent of the film. And with now knowing that one of the motherfuckers that I thought was a throwaway kill at the beginning of this is also related to Stu, now makes me even more annoyed how much this movie wants to fillet the first one.
It's also easy to annoy you.
Well, yeah, but it's like, I'm not that picky.
Yeah, so we have more tie-ins to the original movies. We have Randy's niece and nephew, Chad and Mindy.
Yeah.
Who are kind of both playing the role of Randy, even though Mindy's more Randy than...
No, everybody's playing the role of Randy. As soon as the killings start, all of them are like, well, this is just like all these horror movies. Even like the Wes character is like, hey, this is just like those killings. All we got to be careful with the rules. And everyone in this movie is just Randy Meeks. That's how they solved the problem of not having Jamie Kennedy in this movie. They're like, we will just make everybody Randy.
Still miss Jamie Kennedy though.
Yeah. I think everybody in the Scream fandom misses Randy.
And I love that we go to Martha Meek's house and she has like this home theater that is basically a shrine to her brother. So it's nice that in this movie we kind of, have the people that have left us in the past back in this movie in a small way.
Yeah. This movie feels like a really well-made fanfic. That's where I'm going with this.
And it's kind of interesting that you say that because that's the route that the plot takes.
Yeah. So, okay. This movie is really different than the other ones because you can tell it's not made by Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Like I said in the spoiler-free section, this movie's fat. This movie is morbidly obese. There is about 30 minutes they could trim out of this and be very okay with.
It'll be interesting to see when we get the DVD and see what deleted scenes there are. And it could have been, okay, if you had trimmed this conversation down or this sequence down, you could have fit something there instead.
All the stuff where the kids are at the pool hall or whatever.
Yeah.
That scene could have been gone completely. Would have affected nothing. And that would have killed off the whole Stu's nephew thing.
Well, I didn't want them to get rid of that scene, but in the trailer for that kill, there's this really great shot where they show it's a silhouette of Ghostface on the pool hall, and it's him cleaning his knife. So he's just, bigger than life. But they cut that out of the movie.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you could have cut out like a couple minutes of the conversation just to have that, because visually it's
just
striking.
Cut the whole pool hall sequence, to be honest. It serves no real purpose.
Yeah, it's just to show this character and tie him into the original killers.
The main group.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the vast majority of these characters are generally non-characters, like Amber, right? Tara's friend. How would you define her? In few words. All right? Because I know you're going to try and connect her to something else, but in few words, how would you describe her as a character?
The killer.
Yes. That's it.
Right off the bat, you see Amber and you're like, that's the killer. There's no,
within, the first, 20 minutes of the movie. She's the one you pick out, right away.
Yeah, there was no second guessing it. It's like, oh yeah, she's got something to do with all the killings and all the stuff that's happening.
Okay, so, like I said in all the other movies, you can tell, or you can't tell who the killer is. You just kind of have a gut feeling and just kind of roll with it. But with her, it's like, no, you can tell she's the killer, right away. She's like, oh, they cloned my phone. Oh, it couldn't have been me. Oh, yeah.
Tara is my best friend. I would never do anything to hurt her. And it's just like...
oh, I'm trying to keep everybody away and make sure she's protected. And make sure I'm the only one with her wherever we go.
I also have an emergency inhaler of hers at my house, just in case. And it's just
so she always has to come to my house in case she needs it when she loses her. So, and also, I have this giant fuck-off bruise after, a fight with somebody. And
also, I live in Stu Mocker's house.
Well, yeah, but that's an end of movie reveal.
But still, it's like,
yeah,
dude.
she is the biggest red flag in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The other killer, we'll get to that. But let's talk about Richie.
Yes.
So Richie is Sam's boyfriend currently, and he is comic relief. He's played by Jack Quaid, and he's good in the movie.
Yeah, I was very surprised because I've only seen him in Hunger Games. I haven't seen him in anything else.
I forgot he was in Hunger Games. I remember him from The Boys, but he does a good job. He's charming, funny. And a lot of his shtick in the movie, he's playing the character that, I've never seen any of the Stab movies. I don't know what's going on with all this stuff. He's supposed to play the outsider, or the audience surrogate.
Kind of wholesome.
Yeah, he's playing the character the audience is supposed to jump in with for, oh, you've never seen any of these movies? Okay, just follow him and he'll kind of explain things as they go.
And then we have Sam that has to run back to Woodsboro because her sister's been attacked. And in doing so, she talks to Dewey to figure out what's going on. And right off the bat, Dewey's like, it's always the boyfriend.
Always the boyfriend.
And then you have Richie, what? Me? No, I'm innocent. I would never do anything. And it's just like, good on you, Dewey. You don't miss a beat. You're just, boom, it's the boyfriend. It's always the boyfriend. You as a boyfriend, how do you feel?
That's just racist. I mean, okay. So, the fucker ain't wrong. In these Scream movies, people are like, oh, they're so smart and clever. And I'm like, yeah, but they're also kind of really predictable. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, the killer's always like a bullshit, mystery that you can't actually solve.
Yeah.
The boyfriend's always the big red flag. Granted, the only time it's been the boyfriend, quote unquote, was in the first one.
Yeah.
But then it's like, the second movie, it sets up Derek as the red herring the entire movie. And the fourth one, it sets up the boyfriend as the killer for the entire movie.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like, it sets up the boyfriend as not being the killer for the entire movie. And that's how you fucking know it's him. That's how you know that motherfucker masturbates with a knife every night. That's how you know it's him.
I think that's a little much. However.
Yeah.
Dewey was right.
Dewey was right. Dewey was dead to rights. He's also dead now.
Yeah. R.I.P. Dewey. But, yeah, he had the killer in his house. He could have shot him in the head right there.
And then Amber kills him by being able to power lift a full-grown David Arquette.
Which, yeah, that was one of my gripes with the movie.
Killers make no sense?
Killers make no sense, but also...
Welcome to Dean's, where Dean's been living for the last 2 movies, honey.
How is she gonna power lift Dewey with 2 knives, one in his stomach and one in his back, lift him up in the air, and then take off after he just kicked her ass and threw her some
How
through
is
some
she
glass.
gonna take 3 rounds point blank to the chest?
With her little bulletproof vest, and it's like, you are a small-framed woman.
You're like 90 pounds.
It's like, that thing is gonna knock you
with
out.
a 38.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have broken ribs.
And we see Judy in Scream 4, she takes one shot to the chest, she's able to stand up, and then she drops back down again. So it's just, you're not gonna be able to take 3 shots to the chest.
Well, then unless you're Roman, who took like 12 and was able to keep coming.
And that's what people were comparing Amber to, that she was very Romanesque in this movie.
Yeah, and it... okay, so... Yeah, we got the killers in this movie. These fucking killers. Oh, God. Okay, you know what? Let's just cut to the chase and just talk about the fucking movie.
Alright, so...
because we got through most of the characters.
So...
I'm sorry if I sound so fucking defeated, but as we go on, like, Jesus Christ, this movie's worse than I thought it was.
It's not worse. So, this movie, to change it up, because Scream 2 is when we get our, real shock when we lose Randy. And since then, our legacy characters have more or less been safe from the past 2 movies. And in this one, it was really a 50-50 of, are they all going to walk out of this, or are we going to leave one behind?
I thought they were going to kill everybody except Neve Campbell. I thought Gayle and Dewey were going to be dead. I thought Gayle was going to be the first one to go out of them, because I was like, alright, Courtney Cox, she has, like, the Friends things. I don't know if she's, like, really wants to keep doing anything, because I see most of the stuff she's doing is, like, TV or cameo stuff.
Yeah, and...
So I'm like, okay, maybe she's just like, I'm done, you can kill me off.
No, and very sad, because I love David Arquette, and I love, Deputy Dewey, and seeing him figure it out, and his love, triangle with, here comes Gayle, but the career is her side piece, because she loves being a reporter, and we come into this movie, and they're separated again. And this time it's the...
And Dewey don't get a fucking break.
And he's the one that leaves.
Dewey does not get a break in this movie.
No.
At all. It is really depressing.
It is.
He is a drunk. He's not the sheriff anymore. Gayle leaves him and he fucking dies. It's so mean-spirited.
Well, Gayle didn't leave him. He left Gayle.
Yeah, it's still mean-spirited.
It is,
They gave him the win in Scream 3, and then they just show it's like they're making it work in 4, and then in 5 they're like, no. Fuck Dewey.
No, and it's
Fuck
just
him.
sad, when Gayle, finally sees him, when they come face to face, and she's like, you're not the sheriff anymore, and it's just, no, they asked me to leave. So it's like, I had kind of hoped that we'd gotten to see a little bit of the downward spiral that Dewey takes, because it's like, his lot in life has been difficult, he's been attacked, he's lost his sister, he's lost friends, now he's lost his wife and his career. So it'd be interesting to see that story arc of just him really getting beaten to the ground, but he dies a hero, because they go back to the hospital, and he saves Tara, and he saves Sam, and he...
No, he dies an idiot. Why the fuck? He could have shot him from the elevator. His aim ain't that fucking bad.
Well, I mean, he goes, and he's about to get in the elevator, he's like, you know what? You always gotta shoot him in the head. And it's just like...
And now he's alone. In that moment, I'm like, yeah, I guess Dewey's fucking dead.
Yeah. But I really thought, okay, Dewey's gonna die, and now Gayle's probably gonna die fighting, because Dewey's not there anymore. And I was surprised she makes it.
Fuck Gayle Weathers. She's the reason she killed...
Oh,
she's the reason Dewey died.
He is so salty about
Fuck
Gayle Weathers. But I really like that scene that they have when they finally meet up, and they're at the crime scene in front of Judy's house. And they kind of have that moment where they're really kind of just bearing their souls to each other, and they're apologizing for the things that they've done in their relationship and to each other over the years. And it's just setting you up for Dewey's death, which is the next scene. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a cathartic goodbye, because they're telling each other what they really feel, and he dies knowing that she loved him. She didn't stop loving him, but yeah, R.I.P. Dewey. That was a sad kill to watch.
Yeah, it's, really sucks David Arquette died. Because I like Dewey, and also he was, like, the nicer, more redeemable character.
Yeah.
Because I feel Gayle is a attention-seeking cunt for 90% of this series.
Maybe, like, the first 2 movies.
I'm going with, like, the first 3. Actually, like, 3.5.
I'm also biased
I'm
because...
Gayle Weathers. I'm going rogue.
You know, you love that line.
No, I don't. It's so cringe.
But I'm really biased because I really like Courtney Cox.
No, I think Courtney Cox is a fine actress. It's just Gayle Weathers as a character. I'm like, why, Dewey? Why?
But I love that we see, after Dewey dies, that she is just so distraught, and she is not the Gayle Weathers that we know, that, you know, she's out there to get the story. She's going to do whatever she can to accomplish what she needs to accomplish. She is just a shell of a woman. And she calls Sydney for help. Why
does Sydney come back? Every time she comes back, she knows she's going to get stabbed.
And that's what we get when Dewey calls her to tell her, hey, it's happening again. You do not step foot over here. And she agrees. Sydney has children. She's married now.
She's got a gun.
That was like one of the funniest lines of the movie. I'm Sydney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun.
Oh, the meme.
Oh, so many good memes in this movie. But Sydney comes back after Dewey's death. She is reunited with Gayle, but she also meets Sam in that same scene.
Wait, which one's Sam? Fuck. Oh, no, that's the main character.
Sam is Billy's daughter.
Fuck that, by the way.
Which I wasn't sure how Sydney was going to act when she met Sam, because...
Because her father's the fucking serial killer that killed all her friends? That one.
And took her virginity.
That fucking guy.
That guy. I mean, I really thought, you know... Sydney was going to come in and kind of be like, you know, whoa, this is too much of a trip.
I don't know why she came back. There's no reason.
Well, she came back for Gayle.
Why?
Because Gayle was grieving.
No, Gayle came... Why did Gayle come back?
Because her producer sent her there.
Fucking... Sydney should have been like, Gayle, fuck y'all. I'm out. I got 2 kids.
I know.
I got a gun. I'm going home.
I know, but Sydney comes back for Gayle, and yeah, I was really surprised that she was very understanding and calm towards Sam.
I don't know why that's surprising.
Because I thought she would have, you know, kind of tripped out, like, whoa, you know, I didn't know that he had a child with somebody else that I went to high school with, which we don't know who this mystery person is.
Martha Meeks.
Oh,
She's been living a double life this whole time.
Oh my god, that would be a trip. But we have Sydney back, and she kind of, you know, tells Sam, hey, if you need to talk, I've gone through all of this. I'm here if you need to talk. It's like final girl to final girl. I got your back.
And Sam does something that Sydney should do and says, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting fuck out of here. And they fucking leave.
Yeah.
And they're leaving the movie, and it's like, we're about to hit the 3rd act, and then... Inhaler plot point comes in. Deus Ex Inhaler.
Also, I love that we finally have a character in a movie that needs an inhaler as 2 asthmatic people.
I don't give a fuck. It's the dumbest bullshit in this entire movie.
Hey. Inhaler's important.
No,
it was nice to have that kind of voiced out there.
The caveat to get them to the house for the 3rd act.
But that was so simplistic. It's a simple thing. You move this little piece... Now she's forced to go to Amber's house.
Okay. I'm gonna... We told everybody, right? Like, Richie is the fucking killer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna run this back at you. I'm Richie, right?
I hope not.
Okay. We're driving. It's cool. Hey, I lost my inhaler. Like, we need to go and, you know, pick it up, blah, blah, blah. No, we ain't gonna fucking do that. No, we're gonna keep driving through the night. We're gonna get the fuck out of here. And she's like, no, I need it. Look, it's at Amber's house. We can stop there. He's like, I don't want to go to the house. Like, that's murder mystery 101. Never go to the party house. What if Tara was like, you know what, Richie? You're right. Let's keep going.
Then what does he do?
He would have fucked his whole plan.
Exactly.
He's even like, I can't believe that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Richie is intentionally trying to fuck his own plot.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit. All right?
It is what it is.
And then we get to the house. Also, I'm sorry we kind of just glossed over the whole 2nd act. It's a slasher movie. People fucking die. Now we're in the 3rd act where things get interesting. Because these killers now make things really complicated. So Amber caps a bitch.
Well, also, the reason why there's a party happening at Amber's house is it was supposed to be a wake for Wes, but it's a full-on rager.
Yeah.
People are getting drunk, they're having, you know, a good time, and it's just like...
It's symbolic. This movie is a wake for Wes Craven.
Yes.
It's dedicated to Wes Craven.
Yes.
That's the point of it.
Yes, so we're back at the murder house. All the kids are there. We have Mindy Meeks dressed up like her uncle, basically, and they're watching the original Stab movie. Also, you were loving the original Stab with original Randy, and you were hoping that he was going to get residuals.
I was so weirded out because it's like we never seen anything other than the opening for like those Stab movie callbacks. And I'm like, wait, there's a Randy character. We've never seen a Randy in this movie.
No.
What the fuck?
I know.
It just weirded me out.
It's a trip.
But yeah, so she's watching that. People get kicked out when Richie shows up, and they're like, oh, you know, Tara is being chased by the killer, and Amber's like, all right, everybody get out so I can murder everybody.
I mean,
Everybody
ultimately,
leave.
it's, you know, if you haven't caught on that he's one of the killers, at the point where he's kicking people out of the party, and he's like, I'm saving your life, I'm saving your life. And like, yeah, he is, because you are not one of the many bodies here that he could just slash through. And him, I was able to tell from the trailer. I'm like, yeah,
you're full of shit.
No,
you are full of shit.
Nope.
My
radar told me he was one of the killers.
She's completely full of shit. She does this for every murder mystery we go to, where we're watching it, and I'm like, oh, boo, who do you think it is? And she's like, oh, I absolutely know who it is. And I'm like, tell me, I won't tell you. Why not? She's like, don't worry about it, but I know exactly who it is.
I didn't want to spoil the movie for you.
And then the killer gets revealed, and then you're just like, called it. I'm like, no, you fucking didn't.
I didn't want to ruin the movie.
That's a lie, and you know it.
Dean is just salty that he couldn't pick it out.
I picked him out. Are you kidding me? I picked him out in the second act.
You didn't pick it out in the trailer, though. Boom.
You didn't either. You got it spoiled on Facebook.
No,
you were full of shit.
No, I'm not.
This is what the third act is. It's supposed to be these people. Sydney shows up. They're in Stu Macher's house. And everybody's gonna fucking die. That's the third act. Richie and Amber are right in the plot. Because they met on the 4chans.
Sydney and Gayle show up because Sydney's like, you know what? I know something bad's gonna go down. So she tracks their car. So it's just like, Sydney's getting in it too. She's like, yeah, I pulled a Gayle. We could just follow them. Oh shit, they're going up to Stu's old house. You know some serious shit is gonna go down. And it does.
Yes.
And we have our core group of new friends that kind of start to turn on each other. Like, Chad turns on his girlfriend Liv, because she's like, let's go upstairs, let's fool around. And he's like,
that's how you get fucking killed in these, bitch. I ain't doing it.
He's like, look, that's how my uncle got. And I kind of like, I believe you're not the killer, but there's still like 5% that believes that you might be, so...
Also, I'm going to tell you this right now. That's the most unrealistic portrayal of a teenage boy I've ever seen in my life. I don't give a fuck. If she could have been like, hey, you want to go upstairs in the dark room with the knives and all the robes? Also, I have this Ghostface mask, but you want to go up there and have me suck your cock? He would have been like, yeah, bitch, let's fucking go. This is the most unrealistic portrayal of a teenage boy I've ever seen in my life.
So, Dean's saying that he would not survive a horror movie.
Okay, Dean as 20-something-year-old adult? No, I would absolutely survive a horror movie. Dean as 16-year-old raging hormones? Fuck no! Hell to the no! I would be myrtleized.
So sad.
So would you.
No, I would survive.
If Skeet Ulrich came on to you at 17?
It would be very difficult, but I would still survive.
Bullshit.
So we start to see the friends turn on each other.
Yeah, we have Chad and Liv's whole thing.
And that is a way to get them out of the house. We have Mindy, who stays in the house and is basically acting out Randy when he's about to get killed while watching Halloween on the couch. But this time she's kind of like, well, yeah, I remember this part in the movie. Turns around, there's Ghostface, and she has her own altercation in the living room with Ghostface.
Yeah. Is that's supposed to be Amber, right? Or is that supposed to be Richie?
That's Amber, because Richie had just gone down to the basement to go get more beer.
Okay, you know what? I really just want to talk about these two's motivation, because it's the part of the movie that makes me look at the rest of the film as being something totally different than what it actually is.
Yeah, because in this movie, our killer motivation is different because Sydney's not the target, which is the first for 4 movies. Sydney's usually the target. This time...
Well, what's the motivation?
To make a Scream movie or a Stab movie that is worthy, because their biggest gripe was that they disliked Stab 8, and they wanted to make their movie their way.
So, the plot, the motive of this movie is that the fans are assholes for hating Scream 4. And they are so ravenous that they ushered a Scream 5 into existence through pure bitching and moaning. And now we're going to follow all the plot beats to appease you ravenous idiots. So this movie is both insulting its fans while also being probably one of the best love letters to the Scream franchise.
Yeah, I could see it being kind of like a two-sided coin where it's a love letter, but it's also kind of a slap in the face to the fans that are never satisfied. Because when I was reading the stuff for Scream 5, I mean, there were so many people that were just like, oh my god, this is, pure garbage. I love Scream 3 and blah, and it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. We got some issues there.
It's one of those things where watching the movie, but we've been over this.
Yeah.
I am not a massive, I watch every Scream movie every year. It's my Halloween tradition. Again, so going into this, being a non-diehard Scream fan, I mean, I've watched all the movies up to this point. Now I've watched all of them.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting the references. I've seen, all the cool, nods and callbacks. But at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I don't really care. It's cool.
It's a movie.
It's a movie, but that's the thing. I'm watching it as okay, this is a movie. Does this work on its own? Which, you can argue it doesn't, but then the movie does the clever thing. We're doing this shit on purpose. The reason this movie is basically a 90% callback is because that's the point. And now that makes me appreciate the movie, because the point of it is to criticize the fandom.
The toxic fandom.
Yeah, I would almost argue that it's looking at the entirety of this culture of fandom. Okay, this is where we're going to get into the interesting thing, because it's criticizing Star Wars fandom. It's criticizing horror world fandom, the Halloween fans, the fucking Scream fans. It's criticizing all those fandoms where it's hey, we're going to appease the fans by making films that are just one-for-ones of the originals, but we're gonna update them with more, newer characters, but we're gonna have the legacy characters in. It's the whole Force Awakens thing, right? Mm-hmm. Where people's biggest argument was it's just A New Hope, but with a new skin mod on it. Where, yeah, but it was, entertaining movie.
Yeah.
But this movie is nah, we're gonna be exactly that movie, but at the end of it, when the killers reveal what they are and their motivations, their reasoning,
their monologues,
their killer monologues. You have to have one of these in every fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's no, it's on purpose. Fuck you, movie. I was gonna be kind of pissy about this shit, and then that happened. I'm I don't like Amber being the killer, but fuck you, that was clever.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really clever because it's interesting to see that it's these two people that met on. What do they say they met on 4chan? Or
4chan.
Or Reddit?
They couldn't say Reddit. I noticed that they said, we met on 4chan and also Reddit or something like that. It wasn't Reddit. Because I'm pretty sure Reddit didn't give them, the rights to say it, but 4chan don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see that spin because, again, they're going along with the times. Scream 4 was live streaming and the internet, and this is kind of fandom. And it makes sense.
Yeah, it's just, I guess here's my thing. So you're, again, diehard Scream fan.
Yes.
You can appreciate all the movies.
Oh,
you don't have to like the third one, but you appreciate all of them.
I do, yeah.
So this, do you look at it as from the fan perspective, yeah, we get it, some people are kind of toxic, you're being kind of dicks.
No.
Do you think you don't think the movie's being mean to the fans at all?
No, I didn't see it that way. I mean, I've seen toxic stuff from a lot of different fandoms, and it's yeah, sometimes you need to kind of put that person in check, hey, this is just a movie. I can love it, I can wear the merchandise, I could buy things, I could watch it 1,000,000 times. It's still just a movie. And I can appreciate it, I can appreciate the art and the character performances, but it's not gonna, drive me nuts if they don't do the movie the way that I imagined it in my head.
That's kind of why I backed out of the Star Wars franchise completely.
Yeah, even that got really toxic too. That's why I thought it was a clever angle to take in this movie. And also funny, because people got pissed off at this movie, and it's you're kind of proving their point.
Again, that's the other reason where I'm the ending of the movie or the theme of the movie. I guess it's not the ending, right? Yeah. The theme of the movie, I like that, because it's the whole point is hey, we're putting a grotesque mirror towards the fandom we're commentating on it, and I'm okay, that actually kind of works. Their motivations in universe,
yeah,
that should don't work. It's one of the reasons where it's I kind of appreciated Scream 3 because it had a a theme and extra narrative point to everything. Even if the movie was shit, I appreciated it was looking at the toxicity of like Hollywood culture and all that stuff. That's probably why Scream 4 felt so hollow. It really didn't have like an overarching theme to it.
Yeah.
Scream 2 was fun. There's no real depth to Scream 2. Even the first Scream. What's the overarching like thematic element of the film? It's like toxic relationships.
Yeah,
right?
Toxic relationships. Sydney grieving her mother.
Yeah,
and we don't really get a lot of context. Just that this traumatic thing has happened to her.
It's the effects of grief.
Yeah.
You know, that like there are deeper themes in the first film, and Sydney kind of deals with them throughout, but it's a thing where in this movie I'm like, okay, you have like a meta theme outside of your own universe that's really clever, but I fucking hate Amber and Richie as the killers.
Yeah.
And like Richie is actually pretty redeemable because when he turns the crazy on, like Jack Quaid is like, hey, I'm gonna have this scenery, some side of ham because I'm gonna chew right the fuck up.
Yeah, and he also fits the size of what the killer would be, and that was one of my gripes, that they did the same thing that they did in Scream 4, where they made Emma Roberts look like a 6-foot tall man, and she's really like 5'2".
Yeah,
and Amber is, you know, like maybe 5'3", and she looks like a 6-foot tall man.
She's taller than Dewey, stronger, is physically able to overpower everybody in this movie.
So it's like that was unrealistic, and that was my gripe, along with the, you know, Sam's age, the math being off. It's small little things. I didn't really believe them to be the killers, but then again, it's also a good twist because you're not expecting them to be the killers because of the fandom. Yeah, but
they're so red flagged.
Yeah, definitely red flagged.
They're so red flagged. But see, that's the thing. Like, Amber being the killer, again, pegged in the first 20 minutes. And I'm like, all right, so who's the other one? Is it Chad? Because he's the only, like, dude in the movie? Or Richie?
And Amber with, you know, well, you've got bruises on your arm, you know. How did you get those? And he's just like, Football. And it's like, you played football? I'm sure you were probably bruised up after practices and games.
The whole bruise thing is like, oh, you know, oh, Chad has bruises on his arm, so football. And then Amber's like, I like how no one asked Amber, hey, why do you have, like, the giant, like, boot-sized bruise on your chest?
Yeah, in the hospital when her jacket opens, just, you know,
just no, she was like wearing like a low-cut shirt or something, and it's just this big fucking bruise. She had like a jacket over. She wasn't hiding it.
No, but the jacket moved, so you see the bruise for like a second, and then it covers again with the jacket. And that's when I kind of signaled over to you in the theater. I'm like, she's got something on her chest.
I just look over and I was like, I caught it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, good, you saw it.
Right? You saw that spoiler on Facebook, right? But
actually, I did see that spoiler.
So yeah, it's the thing where the killers just don't really make sense, because also their in-universe motivation is, we're gonna start a new line of killings, because when they're based on true events, they're actually better. And I'm like, okay, so you guys are just shitty fans who are gonna kill people in Woodsboro to do it. And also Amber's like, the only reason I looked into this shit is because we moved into Stu Macher's house. And I was like, look, can we just like cut the bullshit and just make this stuff fantasy and just say she's possessed by Stu?
Could have.
And then we can have the thing where it's like Sam is like, oh, Billy, and then Amber Stu, and then we have the rivalry. And also, okay, because Skeet Ulrich is in this movie.
He is.
As Billy Loomis. And he is like the possessed ghost version that's in Sam's mindset. He's not a ghost. It's supposed to be her going fucking crazy.
Yeah, I
which,
read
by the way, I don't give a fuck about what her mental state is. If she is seeing visual, auditory hallucinations of her dead serial killer father, she should be institutionalized. She should not be outside. She is in a shit ton of trouble.
Yeah, I had read an article today from the director and I think the writer of the movie, where they made sure to make a point that Billy is not a ghost. He is a hallucination that Sam is having, kind of like her conscience, I guess, because she knows that Billy is her father, and she's afraid that she is gonna be crazy just like him.
Yeah.
And it's turned into this thing of, is the dark side gonna take over? And that's kind of how it feels like they framed the movie. Like, are some of these killings Sam because she is Billy's, daughter, and maybe she's just nuts like him and, going after people, but not really knowing that she's going after people?
That would have made the movie better. Sorry. Now I'm just being mean. But yeah, it's one of those things where, look, Billy being the dad, I'm like, okay, one is just stupid. Like, I think that's it's so dumb. You only like it because Skeet Ulrich is in this movie.
He's back. I mean, we were both so shocked when that happened. I was
so confused. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And, okay, also, found this out. Skeet Ulrich, apparently, looks fantastic at 52.
Yeah, because your biggest gripe, you're like, oh my god, the CGI, he doesn't look right, blah, blah, blah.
Well, because that's the thing. They did this thing where they CGI'd over his face, so I'm like, okay, no, that's actually the actor, but you can tell they did the de-aging touch-up bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, he looked like, just like a hair over-animated. It's like, when they were doing the de-aging, it's like, they just went over just a touch. If they had brought it down just slightly, he would have looked more real.
A good way to put it is he looked like Robert De Niro in The Irishman.
Haven't seen The Irishman.
It's a long movie.
That's partially why I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but that's the same technology they used. And
yeah.
It just looks kind of weird, but it's still like an interesting performance, but it's also like, why? Because like, why are they trying to redeem the Billy character when he was the villain of the first... He was the
villain. But I think it was really for Sam to kind of be like, you know what? Stop running. Take care of yourself. Stand up. Fight. Because, I mean, if she didn't, more or less, Richie would have killed her. I think she was just kind of in shock, oh my god, it is my boyfriend. Dewey was right. Don't trust my boyfriend of 6 months. Trust the people that you've known your whole life. He's kind of encouraging her, like, fight back. And ultimately, she's the one that takes out Richie.
Yeah, and she... God, I hate that fucking line. Never mess with the daughter of a serial killer. I'm like, fuck off. Oh my god, fuck off. Look, I still stand by what I said before. The movie's enjoyable, and it's like, I do recommend it. It is a fun ride.
But you just couldn't believe that Skeet Ulrich, with a clean shave, looks that young.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, it's really off-putting.
Yeah.
But besides the point... We have it, we have the ending, and, Skeet Ulrich is there, or Billy's there, and he's, like, egging on his daughter, and he's like, you can do this, blah, 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 and she's able to overcome Richie, kill him. Gayle and Sydney defeat Amber, and then Tara shoots him in the head, because you always gotta shoot him in the head. And it's like, fuck, if it weren't for, like, the theme at the end, where I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever, I probably would actually hate this movie, But with that being said, I'm like, no, this movie actually is, like, kind of a fun ride.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of skipped over it, but I love when...
We skipped over a lot.
We did, because this movie, there's just so much to talk about in this movie.
Well, okay, no, the movie doesn't have a lot to go on, but it has a shit ton of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have no idea where to go with this movie. This movie is so fucking weird to, like, evaluate in, like, the grand scheme of things, because I'm like, there's some shit where it's like, it's kind of whatever, and then there's other stuff where I'm like, nah, that's just too clever for its own good. Like, that makes... So, I don't know.
Alright, so...
I'm kind of glad we're done with Scream, to be honest.
That's what he says now, but during the week he was like, I'm so excited, this was so much fun.
Well, no, this was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. And going through the retrospective was really interesting, and seeing where the series developed and where it went, and, like, the highs and the lows of it. Like, okay, that's the thing. This series as a whole, okay? Because we've seen 5 movies. We saw one that just came out, we saw one that came out 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the whole franchise. Because this is a retrospective.
Yeah.
The Scream franchise as a fan, from your fan perspective, what are your thoughts on this series?
It's had its highs, its lows. I think it's back up to its heights because I really love the new Scream movie. I love that so many Easter eggs were in this movie that I think it's a standalone movie where if someone were to go, they could be entertained and, have the jump scares at them. But I really feel like this was a movie for the fans where you have to know from the beginning everything that's going on. And it just makes it more fun that it's going to be part of my watch list when I'm, binging all the movies.
Now, when you say this movie can stand alone, I would like to aggressively disagree.
Because you aggressively disagree on everything.
No, because like let's be honest here. 90% of the movie is callbacks to the older movies.
Yeah, it is.
You
but
wouldn't get that if you only saw this movie.
No, but if you're going in as someone that's never seen it, you could still be surprised and scared by the things that are happening in this movie.
Mean, yeah, I guess.
That's what I mean by standalone. Yeah.
Intrigued by it, but I think there'd be a lot of the movie where it's like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to make sense, well, how is this person, tangled with that person? But you can go in...
Why do I care about the Dewey thing? Like,
yeah.
What's Gayle's deal? Sydney? Like, why is she so... Okay, so she was the main girl from the other movies?
Yeah, but I mean,
and
it's...
screams of needing the sequel.
That it's entertaining enough to sit through it and be surprised by the kills and be surprised by the reasoning in the end for the killings.
Yeah, I do think the biggest plus I give this movie is in, like, the theme, the ending, how the movie how the theme kind of just ties the movie together.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like, I really liked the explanation and all that, to the point where I'm like, I'm willing to forgive a lot of this movie. Granted, also the kills are really, like, interesting and well done. And the movie has really good moments where it shines. And then it's just, well, there's certain things about it that I'm like, 50-50 on.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah as a character, I'm like 50-50 on.
Sam
as a character. Also, I can't distinguish anybody's names in these movies. Sorry. Billy, Bobby, I don't know. They're all people now. Yeah. But yeah, Sam's character, I'm 50-50 on. Some parts she's like really good, some parts she's like not so good. And the whole Billy thing, I think, is some bullshit. Also, fuck Gayle Weathers. She should have died. Dude deserved better. But yeah, overall, I still enjoyed the movie. I still thought it was actually a pretty fun watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I still say Scream 1. Okay. Now that we're talking about this in, like, the grand scope, the series.
Yeah.
I think the series as a whole is pretty good, but it is a series of diminishing returns. It's the whole point is it's a meta joke.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna redo the slash. We're talking about slash movies, and it's a meta thing, and it's every movie. That's the shtick. So they have to find a new way to keep that shtick relevant. And
everybody's a suspect.
Everybody's a suspect, but the problem with everybody's a suspect is you can't solve the mystery. So it's not a whodunit, because you can't solve it. Again, it's the gut feeling, and your gut feeling's not evidence. Like, you feel good when you're watching, like, I don't know, the Murder on the Orient Express, and you're trying to figure out, like, who the killer is, because there's evidence in the movie, and you can put it all together if you really try.
Yeah.
And with this, it's like, no, you can't. You absolutely can't. If I showed 5-year-old, or if I showed 15-year-old Boo Scream 3 no context, could you pick Roman out?
That one, no.
But, like, that's the thing. They're not whodunits. You can't figure it out. Just because you're really good at the guessing game doesn't make you a great detective.
I never claimed to be. I'm just saying, I was able to pick them out.
Yeah, but these movies just... The movies as a whole, I'm like, the first one is actually a great movie. I really did that movie. I think that movie actually ages super fucking well.
Yeah.
The second one, it's really more of just like a fun watch, fun experience. The third one, objectively bad. Fourth one's like, okay. There's parts of it that's really good, and then there's parts of it that are really bad. But overall, it's an okay movie. This one is pretty good.
Okay, so...
It's pretty good.
Now that we've seen all of them, we've talked about them, how would you rank them?
1, 5, 2, 4, 3, something like that.
Okay.
That's probably it.
That's your ranking?
Yeah, what about you?
Okay, mine would be Scream 1, Scream 5, Scream 4, Scream 2, and then 3.
Really? 4 over 2?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
No, actually, no, I understand why. You're good. Yeah. All right, I was going to be like, but why? I'm like, no, that movie's a fan letter. You love those.
Yes, I do. So, now that we are at the end of our retrospective...
Yes, we've finished this long journey. So
we won't be talking about Scream until we possibly get a Scream 6. Who knows how long that'll be, but...
2.5 years.
Possibly. So, do you want to tell everybody what we're doing for the month of February?
The month of February, so the Scream Retrospective,
yes,
originates because you absolutely love the Scream franchise.
Yes, I do.
So February, I got to pick, but I didn't pick a film series. I picked a director, and I picked a director I'm very fond of, and you are as well.
I am.
And that's going to be Quentin Tarantino.
That's right.
So for the 4 weeks of February, we're going to be looking at Quentin Tarantino's first film, his best reviewed film, his objectively worst film, and his newest film. And we're going to watch all 4 of those, and we're going to talk about it, kind of looking at his whole career in just a broad scope and see where they fit in. How good are they? So that means next week, we're going to watch his first feature film, which is going to be Reservoir Dogs. Have you ever seen it before?
I have seen it. It's been a while, so it's going to be a little fresh for me.
And I cannot wait to watch this one. But Boo, where can they find us?
Well, if you want to listen to us on a different platform than you currently are, you can find us on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Yeah, you go to our YouTube channel, In the Frame. That's right, In the Frame on YouTube. Comment, subscribe, like, do stuff. It'll be fun. But yeah, any last words?
We'll see you next week at the Film Club.
Have a good week, everybody.